you?
I am exhilarated to be here.
Thank you very much.
Great. Exhausted a little bit from the last couple of weeks, but it ended with a blast. I mean, it was an amazing match in the final, and Serena got to the final, so that was good.
It was a great U.S. Open. It's obviously very exciting to have tennis in New York City. You mentioned both exhilaration and exhaustion, and I feel like that must have been what it felt like on Sunday night with a 5-hour men's final. You were in the booth with your brother, Patrick.
Yes.
Did you feel an exhaustion sitting in on yourself, or did you feel the excitement of the match?
If you get exhausted watching two guys battle like that, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're a little sick in the head.
Yeah.
And for us, the men, to go at it like that, I mean, I've played matches, a couple matches longer than that, so I get it, and I respect it. So I was having a great time. We know there's a tiebreaker in the fifth set, so it could only go another 20, 30 minutes. What's another half hour? So it ended great.
And what do you feel like the energy in New York City for a match like that is different than any other place where you have a major final like this?
Without question. Did anyone see the final? I was lucky enough to be part of 5 U.S. Open finals, and that may have been one of the loudest, if not the loudest, when this, Medvedev, this Russian guy, came back and took it to a fifth set. So it inspires the players, obviously. It's absolutely incredible. We need a shot in the arm for our sport. The women are doing well, but, the men, thank you. I do have 4 daughters and 2 boys, so how much it means now that the playing field is more level in women's game in our sport than any other sport. You talked about, I've heard that soccer joke.
Yeah.
That was just the previous segment.
Yeah.
Basketball, there's no football. They're getting paid 1/20th, 1/50th what the men do. And tennis, exactly the same, equal prize money.
What if you were... It's absolutely true. And it's exactly as exciting going into the finals, and there were 2 great stories this year. You mentioned the men need a shot in the arm. What do you think it is that's lacking right now from the men's game?
Well, I think that our best athletes have a tendency to play American football and basketball, obviously. And so we need to do a better job giving more kids the opportunity to play. It's too expensive. I have a tennis academy at Randall's Island. I try to raise money with the charity, get as many kids as possible. It's got to be a cool factor, too. I think we had that a bit in the 70s and 80s when I was playing, not just because I was playing.
Yeah. Well, but let's be honest.
Let me tell you about
Well, one thing we were talking about earlier today, knowing you were coming on the show, I feel like the prime of a tennis player in the 70s was a lot shorter than it is now. It just seems like the way health and fitness has changed, the way even the equipment has changed. For a shorter period of time that guys in the 70s were playing, you had such a huge impact on the game, and I do feel like there was a huge cool factor to what you were all doing.
I think we were doing, the problem we were doing performance-detracting drugs.
Yeah, performance. Yeah, nothing you were doing made you better at tennis.
We try to burn a candle at both ends. And, it works for a while, but it catches up to you a little sooner. These guys are incredible. They got great teams. People understand how to recover quicker, et cetera. But that was a great time in tennis. There was a lot of personality. You need that in a one-on-one sport. That's why people gravitate toward this Medvedev guy.
Yeah.
He embraced being the bad guy, which is something that I sort of wish Djokovic would do a little bit more.
Yeah.
The villain. We need a villain. I know nothing about being a villain.
Yeah.
But the fans got behind him at the end.
You, of course, you alluded to the fact you were known for a little bit of bad behavior. Was it ever...
Just a little bit.
Was it genuinely that you were losing a temper you couldn't control, or was there some gamesmanship to it? Was it a strategy to get in the head of your opponent by losing your temper with, say, the judge?
If all it takes to get in the head of an opponent is you telling a judge that he sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the odds of the umpire giving me the next call? I mean, if you tell this guy he's a bum, then he's going to go, I'll show that McEnroe. So to me, that was sour grapes, if that's all it took.
Right.
With all that goes on, like say in a football game on Sunday, you think they're saying, hello, how are you on the field? Or basketball, there's a lot of trash talking. We used to do more of that. I'd like to see a little bit more in the tennis.
So there was genuine trash talking. Of course, one of your rivals, Bjorn Borg, there you are there, and he is genuinely a dear friend of yours now, yes?
I love him. Hopefully he loves me. He's probably the only guy that I didn't have problems with on the court.
Oh, so you never had an issue with him?
We never had a problem. He took me, under his wing in a way, and I got respect because of that, because he was already like a god. He was like Federer at the time. Everyone loved him, and he was this great-looking guy, dressed right. The girls loved him, so I was like, I want to be like him.
And he was the only guy who was nice to you. Do you feel like that means he was a good judge of character or just a bad judge? Was it a blind spot that he was like, I like this McEnroe kid?
What do you think?
So the first time you go to Wimbledon, is it? Are you 17 years old?
I was 18. The first
18
time I
years
went.
old.
Yeah.
And you talked about how guys have great teams now, and there's, nutrition has obviously advanced so much. But what was it like? The tour did not take care of you in the same way then as it
No.
does now.
It was an incredible time in England in the 70s. Punk was breaking out, and people were getting on me. It was like oil and water. Me, a New York kid. I mean, you're screaming and yelling all the time. People are, they give you their opinion, right?
Yeah.
Over there, they're much more reserved. They're very proper. I was like, what's wrong with these people, man?
Yeah.
They're so well behaved here. And so, we clashed right away. But I got a lot of support. I got to say, like, if you walk down the equivalent of, well, I don't know what street King's Road in London, it would be Lexington, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of support. There was like some freaky people around, but they were supportive. The establishment and the papers, which were owned by Rupert Murdoch, you may know him.
Yeah.
They were giving me a very hard time, and there was a lot more newspapers in London than there are here. There was 15 local papers, so that makes it where they're looking to get you.
Were you somebody that, you're 18 years old and you were supposed to, your first run to, I think, the semifinals?
Semifinals.
So that was kind of unexpected, right? You were actually supposed to be there to play in the juniors, and you
Right.
ended up going on a sort of unexpected run. Were you somebody then who would read the paper? I mean, you're in London having this incredible run. You're 18 years old.
Initially, I read it. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I thought these people don't get it. What's their problem? I'm the one out there. Why are they reacting this way? But when I came home and everyone was like, hey, you the brat, that, jerk that, and I'm like, what do you mean? I'm the same person. So it just, actually that completely changed my life. That first trip to Europe and then in London, and it just it went on from there for about 5 years till I finally won the event.
Yeah. So
And I
that's
said,
81.
That's it. I said, I'm never coming back to this goddamn place again. These people are so full of it.
Is this Wimbledon? Is this winning at Wimbledon?
That's my first Wimbledon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.